Hi everyone, welcome back. Just as a quick disclaimer, this isn't a part 2 to my previous video, but don't worry, it will be coming. This is a different series that I hope to be doing more of in the future, so let's get on with it. Today I'll be looking at some posts from the other side of the aisle, as we don't want to end up in an echo chamber now, do we? So I looked through someone's reposted videos. I'm not going to name them because that would be inappropriate, but I'm going to show them to you and I'm going to talk about them with you. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this video, I want to take a look at this post with you all that calls for unity and from who I assume is someone who voted for Trump. As you can see here, it reads, "To the people who are saying downright disgusting things about people who voted differently, this is what is causing all the division in this country. Some of us are celebrating and others are devastated. It's free time. Be kind." I mean, it's such a heartfelt message. And, there's a lot of hate going around. There's just a lot of insults. Let's take a look at the comments. I'm hoping to find some people saying that both sides should try to come together. This is what I'm talking about. This is what we need in this country. When there's already so much hate and division, we need people like Curly Q Kucher, who says, "It is disgusting behavior for sure, seeing so much hate and division and name calling. Enough is enough already." Don't I know it? Hold on a second. Oh wow, just right above that comment that I just read to you, Biller Mom 50 says, "Why? The left is unhinged, evil, and nothing stopped them from how disgusting they treat the right." It's such a wonderful message. It's such a heartfelt message that even the creator of this little post gave it a like. You know, I love it. Honestly, why am I even wasting my time looking at other people's posts when I can look at my own? Surely there's some people from the other side that have come to my videos and to, spread positivity, right? I mean, it's honestly amazing. I didn't even have to actively look for these kind-hearted people. I mean, they came right to me. And I'm really sorry to disappoint you, Lil Witty. But I don't think I'll be keeping my mouth shut anytime soon. Thank you. And guys, I don't want you to send any hate to the people that you see in this video or the posts or whatever. Lil Witty is probably like 9 years old or something, so let's just leave him alone. Just what I want for you guys to do is don't send hate, send facts. That's all we need to do, okay? Let them have their mask off moment. Now that we're done with all that, let's actually look into some arguments for Donald Trump and let's debunk them. On that same person's reposted videos, I found this one by Megs saying that it's going to be okay even if Donald Trump is the president. I won't be able to go over the whole video, but I'm going to go over, few parts of it because otherwise this video will be insanely long. So let's get into it.
Okay, so Trump is president-elect, and I think some people are very fearful of what that means, and hopefully I can help dispel some of the disinformation and fears that I'm seeing some posts about.
What a coincidence. I'm also here to dispel disinformation from people who are trying to dispel disinformation. So I'm dispelling disinformation.
First, he's not planning to do a national abortion ban. He gave that right back to the states. It is a states issue. He has no plan to codify anything against abortion. That is now up to the state. So not something he is after.
I wonder, when was the last time bodily autonomy was left up to the states to decide?
Reproduction.
I'll give you a hint. It was slavery.
It's part of his campaign that he wants insurance to cover IVF 100%. He is fighting for anything to help women have children.
Didn't have much to say about that.
And he is also not looking to get rid of Social Security. He actually wants to take taxes away from Social Security.
No, he does want to get rid of Social Security, but he just won't admit it. I mean, he's got people around him that say they want to get rid of it, so.
That need them. And I actually made a video.
But we'll just pretend Project 2025 doesn't exist.
Wants to do with those things in, I think, my last post. I also want to point out that this is a unity party.
No, not really.
Avengers, whatever you want to call it. He has put together a team that is, yes, a lot of them are rich, and people keep
like
saying
Elon
that
Musk.
he's only here to help the billionaires.
Yep, and if you've watched my previous videos, you would know he gave a bunch of tax cuts to the rich.
He is funding his own transition teams so that he's not influenced by a bunch of lobbyists and people like that.
Now hold on a second. She just said that Donald Trump wants to fund his own transition team. That way he won't be influenced by rich people or lobbyists, correct? Wrong. That's a total lie. Let's take a look at how Donald Trump's transition is actually going with the help of this New York Times article. Before we get into the rest of the video, we need to define what a conflict of interest is because it will be very important for the rest of the video. So, it is a situation in which the concerns or aims of two different parties are incompatible, such as a situation in which a person is in a position to derive personal benefit from actions or decisions made in their official capacity. We can now continue on to the article. It says, President-elect Donald J. Trump has not yet submitted a legally required ethics pledge stating that he will avoid conflicts of interest and other ethical concerns while in office. Now, another part of the article that I want to highlight is that while the transition team's leadership has privately drafted an ethics code and a conflict of interest statement governing its staff, those documents do not include language required under the law. Despite the fact that he has his own conflict of interest guideline, he's not going to hold himself accountable. And how do we know that? Because he's already had numerous conflicts of interest in his previous presidency. He's had more than 3,400 conflicts of interest, among them holding political events and hosting foreign dignitaries at hotels and resorts owned by his company. So why is the transition so imperative? Well, let's keep reading. The Presidential Transition Act governs the complex process of handing over the Byzantine operations of the federal government to a new executive in the 2.5 months between Election Day and Inauguration Day. In 2019, Congress amended that law to require candidates to create and publicly post an ethics plan before the election and to include information on how eligible presidential candidates will address their own conflicts of interest during a presidential term. And what that boils down to is that we as citizens should be able to see how his transition is going and how he's going to avoid benefiting from him being president so that he isn't doing things just to benefit himself. Funnily enough, this is a bipartisan law that was made because of him in his first term. While Mr. Trump's appointees were required to comply with ethical codes, Mr. Trump declared shortly before taking office that he would not divest his assets, nor would he place them in a blind trust. He's blatantly trying to rip off American citizens and trying to make as much money as he can and get as much power as he can. So what does the Transition Act actually do? It's a document that provides for a variety of services to be made available to the president-elect, including $7.2 million in funding for the cost of transition. But also puts a $5,000 cap on individual donations to the transition and requires the public disclosure of all its donors. By refusing to sign that agreement, Mr. Trump effectively faces no limit on contributions and does not need to name his donors publicly. Money raised by the transition is not regulated by any other government agency. So now what that means is that the richest of the rich can give him money and he doesn't have to say where he's getting that money from. It's all anonymous. And just to remind you who one of Trump's favorite people is Elon Musk, the richest man in the world. And of course, by refusing to sign the agreement, no one is holding him accountable, not the government, not himself, not anyone. Alright then, let's continue on with the rest of the video.
A lot of people on his team are lifelong Democrats.
I'd love to know who she's referring to.
Plans to listen to
she doesn't name them.
And take in their experiences and their skill sets to hopefully
Which ones? Which skill sets? Which ideas?
Functional and efficient team than what he had in his
How?
First term.
How will it be more efficient?
He admitted that he made a lot of mistakes his first term because he just listened to the lobbyists and appointed whoever they said to appoint. The reason he's funding his own transition team is not so he can become some kind of dictator. It's so that he can put these very smart, intelligent people.
How are they smart? How are they intelligent?
Center line people.
Is that not concerning to you that she just admitted that he just listened to rich people? And I just proved to you that he has not learned his lesson. Like, what do you expect? You think he just had a change of heart or something? He's the same guy he's been all this time. I don't know, Donnie. What do you think? Are you going to be a dictator day one?
I'm going to be, he keeps, we love this guy. He says, you're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one.
4 years. And most importantly, he's not against any race.
Except minorities. Except for transgender people. They'll just put out a bunch of fake ads about you.
He's for
And except for any religion that's not Christianity.
Single American. He's also not against
He's for rich Americans. Rich.
Immigration. He makes that so clear. He is married to an immigrant. You really think
is he making it easier to become a citizen at all as an immigrant? No? Okay. Let's not take her word for it. Let's ask Donald Trump what he thinks of immigrants.
They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and prisons all over the world, not just in South America, not just the 3 or 4 countries that we think about, but all over the world. They're coming into our country from Africa, from Asia, all over the world. They're pouring into our country. Nobody's even looking at them. They just...
Please know that the MAGA movement is Make America Great Again.
For rich Americans.
All Americans.
For rich Americans. For rich Americans. You got it.
The sentiment across the entire Unity Party.
You can't just keep saying it's a Unity Party and not name who is actually a part of the Unity Party. We'll look into that anyway, but I just want to say that.
So, please don't fear. That is...
Please do fear, because things are going to happen.
And it most definitely isn't the sentiment of the majority of Americans who voted for him. We simply want safe borders, and we want the wars of our homelands and our home countries to end so that people stop dying in these pointless wars.
I love that by saying that she simply wants safe borders, that it's implying all Democrats want dangerous people coming into the country. And if you've already watched my previous video, you already know Democrats wanted to make the border safer, but Donald Trump already said no, and all his crony Republicans also said no because of him. So thank you, Donald Trump, for letting dangerous immigrants, by your own words, come into our country. And holy smokes, did she just say pointless wars? Is she saying that the invasion of Ukraine is pointless? Go up to any soldier that's fighting for their sovereignty, for their country, and tell them that it's a pointless war. Go ahead, do it. I'd love to see it.
He's good at communicating with scary leaders.
No, he's not.
Honestly,
he's good at bending the knee to them.
That's a good
He'll
thing.
let Ukraine fall. He will.
World War III in his first term, so hopefully he can do that again in his second. So please.
That's just ridiculous.
I think the world is ending. It didn't end in the first term. I don't think it's going to end in the second.
Don't worry, it won't end.
It's going to be okay, guys.
These countries will just be invaded, and there'll be genocides, and it's going to be alright. Just keep your head up, guys. Just let them fall. Who cares? Alright, that's the end of her video, but it won't be the end of mine. We still have to go over what she was actually talking about. Who is this Unity Party? Is it really centerline? Let's look into it. So she claimed that he learned his lesson and that he didn't just appoint people who they told him to, that he changed it up, that it's a Unity Party, it's centerline. So let's actually verify if that's true. First up, for his White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles. As you can see, she's actually part of the Republican Party, but that's okay. Surely the rest of his positions are actually centerline, and he has many Democrats on his cabinet, correct? Next up, Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Down at the bottom, it says he was a top Republican. Okay, we still have a lot more chances. Let's keep going. Border Czar Tom Homan. Wait a minute. He was the acting director of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement during the first Trump administration. But I thought that she said that he learned his lesson, that he wasn't going to appoint people that he already had. I thought he was going to switch it up. What happened? Next, we got National Security Advisor Michael Waltz. Predictable, Florida Republican. So far, not so good for this centerline party. Next up, we got Department of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. Wait a minute, what did she do? She once in a single day shot dead both a puppy and a goat? Okay. Seems like Donald Trump only picks the best of the best. Next up, we got EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, also a Republican from New York, Scott Bessent, and Trump's former U.S. Trade Representative Robert, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, is being floated for Treasury Secretary. Of course, I thought he learned his lesson, but here we go again, he has not. For his Commerce Secretary, he again wants to bring someone back from his first term. He has not learned his lesson. I'm going to sound like a broken record at this point, but again, he's bringing back someone from his first term to be CIA Director, John. And he wants to possibly bring Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to head the Department of Health and Human Services. Now, he's crazy. He wants to bring back raw milk. He thinks we need raw milk as American citizens. And I hope that you all know why raw milk is bad. Here's yet another person from his first term. And last but not least, here's yet another one. It's interesting because she admits that he made a lot of mistakes. He says he made a lot of mistakes, that he appointed people to positions based on lobbyists. And yet, here they are. He brought them all back. There isn't a single Democrat on his cabinet. You can't tell me genuinely that it's a unity party and that it's center line. You're a liar. She's got a couple more videos that I want to look at, but I won't be able to do that in this video because I'm sure you already know it's very long, so I'll have to do that next time. My next video is going to be a continuation of my previous video, so thank you for your patience. For now, that's going to be it. Thank you for following along. Please keep watching, like, and follow, and the best thing you can do is share. So I'll see you guys next time.